it's a little too early to make the final call on how well the Nintendo Switch is doing. Obviously, it's only been out for, you know, a little over a week at this point. But it's doing as well as you could expect it to do, or as well as Nintendo could have hoped for it to do. According to many sources and Nintendo themselves, it's the Nintendo's fastest selling console ever. And that's impressive for a lot of reasons. One of which is that the Wii U was a failure, better than the Wii, which was a massive success. There's a lot more competition now, consoles, tablets, phones, and the fact that people thought Nintendo was down and out, which I always thought was silly, but the Nintendo is doomed people probably didn't help the matter as much, but the people that actually wanted the console usually don't listen to them anyway. So, almost 2 million are expected to be shipped for March. And that's not how many have sold out yet. It's somewhere between, I think it's around 1.5 million have officially sold to this point. But I don't think this is going to be still a 100 million Wii seller. But like my prediction said, it's definitely going to do better than the Wii U, and it'll probably do better than the GameCube. My predictions still stand. I think you're looking at, I said 24 soft, 35 to 40 on the more optimistic side. I'm now more heavily maybe going towards 30, pushing up my soft sort of estimate. But this is going to be a success. It's sold out everywhere. Nintendo is selling the system officially at a profit. I can't find them in San Diego. I can't. I probably had to have bought one by Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon before they were sold out. At least I gauging by my targets and when they say they're out of stock. And there's like 15 to 20 targets within a driving radius for me. And they all said sold out by Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon. They all said sold out. Of course, though, you have scalpers. You have to say, well, people are buying them to scalp them too. Those are still sales. They still count. Nintendo still pockets that money. The good news is that Nintendo made enough Switch systems. I think they made a perfect amount because I don't think many people expected them to sell them all out as quickly as they did because it's a March release and the Wii U didn't do well. But the marketing was there. Super Bowl commercial. Commercials on ESPN I saw almost every day. Commercials during Monday Night Raw. Wrestling for you out there. Getting bigger YouTubers in on the action, which they did not do with the Wii U 5 years ago. So they lined their I got invited out to a Switch event. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. So that they got their ducks in a row. They produced, I thought, the proper amount to be safe for a March release, which is not a time of year where a lot of people usually spend money. And they sold them out. At least what I see in the US. And the reason you can tell that they produced enough, just enough, is because these aren't getting scalped for that much. This isn't like back when the Wii came out where people were paying, $650, $700 for a $250, system. I can buy one right now on Craigslist for about $350 in cash. And that's only about $25 more, or $20 more, depending on what your county, than what I would pay with taxes. So if I go out, I'm probably paying $325 to $330 with taxes, and people are looking to get $350, $360. That's not a lucrative scalp right there. Those are people that are one step away from returning their Switch to the store. Hopefully they save the receipt and getting their money back within the 30 days or whatever the window is for, new electronics. So that tells me that Nintendo did a pretty damn good job with that. And when I went to my Target, and I did look on Sunday. I should have just went on Friday morning. I probably could have gotten one because reports were a lot of stores had like at least 50 Switch consoles. When I went, though, on Sunday, I looked at two different Targets within about 10 minutes from each other. And both of them had almost no Breath of the Wilds left. I think one Target had the display one, in that little plastic placard they have it there. They had that one, so they had one copy left at one Target. The second store had the one copy on display and then one laying behind it. So we're talking Zelda was like almost sold out of these two Targets. Obviously, that's the game everyone's going to buy. That's the killer app. I've heard that Bomberman is another strong seller so far, but Zelda's the game, obviously, which we'll get into about that. So the Wii sold 600,000 units during its first 8 days on the market. The Switch has destroyed that mark. And the Wii came out during the holiday season. That came out in November of 2006. Again, this is why this is such a great sign for Nintendo. So I think what we're going to see is that now Nintendo's off to the best start they could have possibly have wanted in terms of the sales. Will this have legs? That's going to be the main question. Will, you just satisfy the people that don't have it now that want it, which is some people, but not as many as already bought it, and then will it die out by the summer, or will it be consistent? And that's the key right now. I think it's going to be telling how many people buy into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at the end of April, how many get Splatoon 2, what was that, in June? Because they have to get more systems out there to match that increased demand. Obviously, they have to do that. So we're going to see then, especially in April, Nintendo has to stock more for April, which I think they will. I think that's a no-brainer. There's going to be more stock for April. If it wasn't planned already, they're going to, drop them with parachutes onto GameStops, Targets, and Best Buys. Because then I'll pick one up in April if I don't, bow to some scalper and spend $350 on one right now. But I want the red and blue one, though. I don't want the gray one. It's ordinary. Obviously, Breath of the Wild has been a huge success as well. Confirmed to be the fastest moving launch title. Sold more than Mario 64 did. That's impressive. Less competition in the marketplace 20 years ago versus now. You had the PlayStation. Sega consoles were dying out by the time the 64 came out in the US. Saturn was dead on arrival in the US. So it's very impressive that Breath of the Wild sold more than Mario 64 did that soon, but also the fact that, again, there's a lot more competition out there now. But people really wanted this to succeed. Like I said, I think the fact that the Wii U was such a disappointment, I think it even gave people more of a push to get this early to show support. I don't know if that's true, but I'm interested in getting one. I didn't get a Wii U until it was out at least a year. I'm going to get a Switch. That's not to say, though, that this is a perfect system, obviously. There's issues with this. There's the left Joy-Con issue, which the people that reviewed it on major websites, gaming websites, said that, yes, the left Joy-Con does unsync for a time period. Nintendo's response to that was a little silly. They kind of acknowledge it without acknowledging it. Obviously, they're not going to come out and say, oh, we fucked up all our Joy-Cons. Not everyone has the issues, but some people are. But they released a statement saying, what you can do, to sort of minimize this. They said they're in fact-finding mode. Fact-finding mode. And they're investigating the issues. I don't know if this is a production issue. Certain run of these had this. Obviously, this can be corrected on future systems. This is in the Joy-Con itself. This is not the actual tablet, which is great news for Nintendo. That's great news. They said, Reggie Fils may say, we're asking consumers a lot of questions. We want to get consumers on our helpline so we can get as much information to understand the situation as possible. We are in fact-finding mode to really understand the situation and the scenarios, and with that information, we will look and see what the next steps are. Okay? So, Nintendo support site suggests they gave a list of things to keep your Switch system and your Joy-Con away from. It was like, off the top of my head, it was like, don't put it near, like AC adapters, keep it away from other Wi-Fi devices, don't put it near your cell phone, don't put it near an aquarium. I'm thinking, what Wi-Fi or Bluetooth is in an aquarium, but I don't know. I'm not into fish. I don't collect fish or pets. I just think that's pretty funny. Again, this isn't an issue for everyone, and of course, if you have it, docked into onto your tablet, There's no issue at all. It's just that when you're further away, it can unsync for like, I think people are saying like up to 10 seconds. It'll unsync and it'll catch back on. Of course, if you're battling in Zelda and that happens and you get killed, you can be, that can be pretty bad. So I think Nintendo will fix this issue. And yeah, there's a big YouTube video out there with all the compilation of all the issues people have had with their Switch, whether they got a unit that's just dead. There's pixels, dead pixels on the screen, which can happen with any device like that, with any tablet or even cell phone. You can have some dead pixels. So obviously that's bad, but I don't think those are widespread as much as even this Joy-Con issue, which isn't like everyone experienced the Joy-Con desyncing issue. It's just some. So you can't fault out of 2 million consoles. There's going to be some that end up being dead on arrival. I mean, that's just how manufacturing is. There's going to be some that aren't working. They're not exactly, after they're constructing these, they're not running through a massive test with each of these before they get thrown into a box and out the door. So you have recourse, you have a warranty. Nintendo will get you a new tablet if you happen to have a bad one. In terms of the Joy-Con issue, which could be a larger issue, I think if it was something like half of the people were complaining about it, I think Nintendo may not necessarily do a recall because it's just a Joy-Con, but they'd probably send out new Joy-Cons and take a hit there, or give you a coupon to buy. Probably most likely give you like a coupon to buy a replacement Joy-Con in a store. That would probably cost them a lot less money to do that. They would probably do something to that extent. But if you're having a Joy-Con issue, I'm not sure at this point, based upon how these are manufactured, if buying a replacement one in the 1-pack for $50 or the 2-pack for $80 for the 2-pack, whether those are manufactured the same way, if you're going to have the same issues. So if you're really fearful out there, which I don't think you should be, just for the most part, like I said, it's not a killer that the desyncing happens. It's not like it ruins your experience, because again, you can play it on the tablet. It only happens sometimes when you have it in docked mode. But if you want to wait, you're going to have to wait for them to clear up these manufacturing issues or to see what's going on. You might have to wait like 3 months, because the ones that are going to be shipping out for April, they're on the boat already. They're coming over. So those are going to have the same exact issues. The ones in May, it might be too late for those as well. There could be the sort of issue that doesn't get worked out until like a 2.0 version. And I'm not saying like the Super Switch, but I mean like they really go back and they have to retinker for how this is designed, that specific left Joy-Con, and then go back and then redo that assembly line process in their manufacturing, and then redo that. That could take months. So if that's going to dissuade you from buying the Switch now, it won't dissuade me. It could for you. I wouldn't let that bother me personally. What's a bigger issue to me, though, is the fact that the people that are reporting the scratches, the scratches on their system when they dock it. So what someone showed me with this was that it's more to do when you have the Joy-Cons attached. It seems like it's somehow there's less room to slide down the tablet into the dock. And you have to be really careful. The good news is that the people that are getting scratches on their Switch tablet, it's not on the screen itself, it's on the bevel around it. So it's not going to damage your gameplay experience. It's not going to affect it. But that's still inexcusable. I'll be the first to say that's a design flaw. And already I went to GameStop and I see you can buy not just the protectors for the screen itself, which by the way is plastic, which I think is also a little cheap, but they got to keep the cost down. But it's not glass. It's not even what my cell phone is made out of, what the Switch screen is. But they're already selling little rubber pads in these kits to attach to your tablet. So when you slide it in, there's a little more buffer for it. If it when you jiggle it down there or try to pull it out, you don't rub it against the side of the dock. That could be something that might be fixed again in the future on a 1.1 revision, not necessarily a 2.0 like I said before, like a 1.1, or maybe they'll have a dock you can buy that will be better for that. Again, the good news is that this is not a failure. Breath of the Wild is getting rave reviews. People are already calling it the game of the year. Nintendo put all their eggs in one basket with that game, but this is a game that's been in development for like 5 years. So why not? They had the tech demo for the game back 5-6 years ago with the original Wii U, but with the Wii U, the original game, and then this could have came out on the Wii U a year ago, but they held it back, which they had to. Otherwise, people would have been buying 1-2 Switch and Bomberman, and then throwing their tablets out the window. So I'm gonna get one. We'll see. Nintendo didn't send me one. Sad Pat. But I'm happy that Nintendo is back in the saddle with this. Hopefully the third parties come on board because they see the positive sales. Remember that, folks, as well. But for those that say Nintendo shouldn't make hardware again, I'm going to point again to, okay, then they would have lost out on already making a profit selling 2 million in March, and this is on the way to refilling their Scrooge McDuck money bin, because the Switch is not going to be a failure. It's going to be a moderate success at least.